How do you feel surrounded by luxury, having a grand house, getting into an expensive car, and then boarding your private plane? This is the story of some of the most powerful leaders in the religious sphere today. How much of their huge fortunes are at stake? So, what could be a black shadow behind shy and wealthy people's glamorous lifestyle? Let's dive beyond the surface to understand how ostentatious pastors use their billions. Chapter 1: The Wealth of Televangelists. These pastors often achieve the status through television ministry, theatrical preaching, and proportion of prosperity gospel. They teach their congregants that God wants them to be rich, and that giving to their ministry means that the congregants will reap financial rewards. Some possess several houses, private airports for aircraft, and even exclusive grounds for golfing. Chapter 2: The Lavish Homes. Most of these wealthy pastors own homes that rival those of Hollywood celebrities. Many of their properties feature swimming pools, impressive home theaters, and expansive gardens. Some have multiple units in different states or countries at the same time. Many can live in an affluent community with homes worth millions of dollars. Today, many of these homes are tax-exempt because they are residential churches or church-owned homes. This makes it possible to live in multi-million-dollar houses without paying taxes like other people. Some critics have claimed that this organization provides tax exemptions to pay for a lavish lifestyle, while its followers suffer financially. Chapter 3: Luxury Travel Experience. Wealthy pastors have also adopted ultra-modern private jets as one of their biggest symbols of power and ministry, with some leaders defending this choice. It is a tool by which they take their message across the world. Like any other form of asset, the costs incurred in owning and operating a private jet are enormous. Some pastors have 4 private jets that cost tens of millions each. Advocates can use the logic of canonical work that these travels enable pastors to accomplish missions effectively. On the other hand, opponents dispute that these costs correspond to biblical teachings of humility and service. Chapter 4: The Prosperity. This prosperity is a theology that holds wealth and health are indications of God's favor. This creates a theology that claims the church rewards those who donate with wealth. They do this because their hope is built on prosperity theology when going through hardships in their lives. However, some enemies of the idea are a way of scamming hopeful and desperate souls for their money. What they say is that it leads to the promotion of the materialistic culture as opposed to spirituality. And while some of the blessings promised end up not coming to pass, people feel let down. Chapter 5: Ultra-rich pastors. Let's look at 5 ultra-rich pastors whose lifestyles exemplify this trend. Kenneth Copeland sits in the first position with a net worth of $300 million United States dollars. He has a large house of 18,000 square feet in Fort Worth, Texas, worth more than $6 million, and a Garvey of Rolls-Royce and Bentley, among others. Kenneth has expensive private airplanes that cost tens of millions. He once quipped that he uses them to speak to God. He is also frequently photographed wearing such luxury brands as Gucci and Versace. The second is Joel Osteen. He has an over $100 million net worth. He resides in a $10.5 million luxury home in the River Oaks neighborhood of Houston. He owns a $330,000 Ferrari. He uses private jets, but does not earn any salary from his church. Famous fashion designers often design tailored suits for him. Benny Hinn takes the second place with a net worth in the range of $60 to $100 million. Altria's CEO also has an extravagant house in California, which ranges from $8 to $9 million. He has luxurious cars, including luxury SUV vehicles. Famous for flying around in his jet, conducting his ministry around the world, he also loves dressing in expensive-looking suits when conducting his televised services. T.D. Jakes has wealth in his possession, with an estimated net worth of about $20 million. He lives in a massive building with houses in different parts of Texas, and he possesses relatively fancy cars, the Bentley brand of cars, and high-end sports utility vehicles. He uses a private jet for his ministry events around the world. Jesse Duplantis takes the last position with an approximate net worth of $20 million. Duplantis lives in a magnificent house that costs around $3 million and boasts a fleet of luxurious cars, including Cadillacs and a Tesla. He has infamously demanded $54 million for flying machines for the ministry. He wears expensive designer clothes during services and church activities. Chapter 6: Maintenance of Money Together with Spirituality. it is imperative to see how these pastors, who profit so much from the sales of their prosperity gospel, reconcile themselves with their religious sermons. While some individuals call for prayer to increase the flow of investment to generate wealth as a blessing in a spiritual way, others state that wealth distorts the relationship between the church leaders and the congregation. As religious leaders are meant to formulate representative churches, they are questioned on how they handle financial issues and how they take their money. While some pastors have tried to work towards greater accountability, they have done so by issuing financial reports or actual charitable activities to benefit the community. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this exploration or had your mind lightly tickled, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. How do you feel about the luxurious lives of super successful pastors? Is it fair for them to be rich? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section below. Until the next time, keep asking and searching.